Talking to camera is weird, even for me. I have a background in TV, but when I started on YouTube, I had never felt more insecure or more vulnerable. And it often led to just cringe-worthy on-camera performances. So I've started to vlog. Help me. I don't really know what a vlog is. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without it sounding weird. Vlog. Yes, I've started a weekly vlog. See, we all start somewhere, and it's proof that you just get better with time, but you can only get really good at talking to camera by actually talking to camera and taking the action. So I wanted to share with you some of my best tips and tricks and updated tactics that I use to talk to the camera like it's my best friend. Because this is not natural, people, and we're gonna make you feel supernatural by the end of this. So if you're excited about this topic, give this video a like, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell to be notified every single time I post a new video. And of course, I wanted to give it a special mention to the wonderful Dr. Scott Resnick. Thank you for being a subscriber here, and thank you so much for all of your kind words and comments here and on Instagram. So make sure you go and show Dr. Scott Resnick some love from our little study squad. And if you wanna be featured in a video, be sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a thoughtful comment below my videos because I do actually read them. Tip number one is something that I've never actually shared before, but I think it will be very helpful. You are a mirror for the viewer. If you're uncomfortable, awkward, and insecure, the viewer feels uncomfortable, awkward, and insecure. So the best thing to keep in mind, and one of the best things that anyone ever taught me, especially when it came to speaking in public, on stages, or on camera, is that the more confident and comfortable I am, the more confident and comfortable the viewer is in me. So that's tip number one, and now I'm actually going to tell you tactically how to be comfortable on camera so viewers love watching you. One of the simplest tricks or tips to be confident on camera, or to at least fake it till you make it, is your hands. So I know a lot of people when they start talking to camera are like, what am I supposed to do with these things? Well, the best thing to do is to understand that they can be used for emphasis, and they can also be used to lead and guide the viewer. So let's say I was talking about one topic and then I wanted to compare it to another topic. I would use my hands to emphasize that and to display the difference. Now, the other thing you can do, and something that I learned as a reporter, is if you don't know what to do with your hands, just hold them like this and keep them kind of down low, keep them on your stomach, and it helps you feel grounded and also feel your breath. And your breath is a huge part of confidence on camera because your breath creates the airway for your voice and the power and confidence in your voice. So just hold your hands at your stomach if that makes you feel more comfortable. And when you feel like there's a point that you need to emphasize, you can do this. Just sort of point to camera or go like this with your hands, because it allows the viewer to understand visually that it's something that they need to really pay attention to, and it helps you to clearly emphasize the points that are super important in your videos. The third thing is nobody likes sketchy eye contact. If you meet somebody in real life and they're not looking you directly in the eyes, you immediately don't trust them. So video is so important because it builds a know, like, and trust factor very quickly. So you need to be looking directly at the lens. Big mistake I see people make is they're looking off lens or they're looking at themselves in the monitor. So make sure you're looking directly down the tunnel of the lens. Makes a huge difference. And you can check out this video on how I record videos with my phone, because I talk a lot about that. If you're starting from scratch with the basics, I talk a lot about how to make sure that you are looking in the right place when you're recording with your phone. The next tip is to wear what makes you feel comfortable. Oh my gosh, I used to wear the weirdest things on camera and I did not feel like myself. We can cut to some old footage, but I used to straighten my hair. I used to make sure that I was wearing something that felt perfect and felt like I was professional. But the reality of YouTube is that people want to be able to relate to you. So you showing up as yourself is one of your biggest differentiating factors. So wear what you would normally wear in daily life. Of course, don't look like a slob kebab, but like wear something that makes you feel like you, because again, you are the mirror for your viewers. The more you and the more confident you feel in yourself, the more that's going to project to the viewer and the more enjoyable you are to watch. So I'm a big believer in wearing things that are just simple, plain. I like to use basic colors. I'm not a big pattern person in my general life. I made this video on how I achieve financial freedom, and I talk about my closet and how minimal it is. So that's what you see me showing up in on camera. Now also for women, and I guess for men too, if you feel like your clothes are really baggy and not form-fitting, that was something that was always an insecurity for me when I was starting out in TV even, is having my clothes just ill-fitting and not looking great on camera. Because when you're wearing something boxy or big, it makes you look boxy and big. So basically what I do is I try and tie up my shirt bottoms so that they are just tied up with an elastic, and it helps it create a more flattering silhouette. So that's just like a little vanity tip there. The next tip is really important. Do a test and watch yourself. And watch yourself back and figure out if that really sounds like you, if you're trying to put on some sort of act or be somebody else. And you can tell more than anybody, and also it helps to have a second set of eyes. So have somebody you know and love watch the video footage too, and trust, most importantly, because you don't need to hear anybody criticizing you for no reason, but a little constructive criticism on if you look and sound like yourself or not is really helpful. And they can give you pointers on like, you don't usually talk like that, you don't usually have cadence like that, etc. So watch yourself. That's the beauty of video, is this is not going to have to go out and be seen by the world if you don't want it to be. You can film it as many times as you like and take as long as you need to feel comfortable and get the feedback that you're looking for. Next tip is very much in line with what I just mentioned, but cadence is really important when you're talking, and inflection. So cadence is basically the rhythm of how you speak. So are you taking a breath in between your sentences, or are you just doing a one big run-on sentence because you're nervous and you just want to get it all out? Really important to breathe, because like I said, the confidence in your voice comes from having a clear airflow and breath. And I'm not the best at it. I oftentimes will get vocal fry, I will talk too fast, but it's something that I'm constantly aware of and trying to work on. So your cadence is your rhythm with how you speak and how fast you're speaking, or how slow you're speaking. So pay attention to that and what feels comfortable for you when you watch it back, and kind of try and stick in that rhythm. And the next thing is your inflection. When you're not confident, we all have a tendency to ask questions when we don't mean to. So I could say, this is how you're gonna talk on camera, and these are the best tips and tricks to talk on camera. That doesn't sound confident. These are the best tips and tricks to talk on camera. So you always want to end in a down so that it feels like you're not questioning yourself. Because again, if you're questioning yourself, the viewer is going to question how credible you actually are. This is so important and often missed, but give yourself a break. Actually give yourself a break. So in a couple of ways. One is when you're filming, I'm not filming this entire thing the whole way through. What I'm doing is I'm filming one section at a time, and then I look down at my notes, and then I come back up. So if I tried to film this whole video in one fell swoop, there would be a lot more fumbling and mumbling, etc. And that's where editing really is your best friend, because you can cut out anything that doesn't work or where you ramble too much. So don't worry about it too much when you're filming, but try to remember that you're not a hero and nobody needs you to be a hero. So just film in small chunks. It'll make you feel way more confident. And then the next thing is, sometimes you're just gonna have days where you just can't film. You feel totally off your game, and that's okay. Take a break. Go for a walk around the block. Have a little dance party in your house. Move your body, get the energy out, get like the nerves out, and just pick it up again when you feel like you're ready. You don't have to do this all. There's no timeline, there's no pressure except for the ones that you're putting on yourself. And my next tip is, when you're doing any sort of video filming, whether it's on Instagram stories, a YouTube video, a Zoom call, you want to focus on one person. I learned this when I was in broadcasting school, that it's better to speak to one person than try to speak to a bunch of different people, because your messaging gets convoluted, the outcome isn't clear, and you get caught up in trying to please everybody. So have a very specific person in mind when you are filming your videos, and that's who's on the lens. That's who you're speaking to directly. And it takes that pressure off of trying to be perfect for so many, and you instead switch your mindset to just trying to convey a message and value to that one particular person. My next tip is to, like I said, keep notes as a security blanket. So as I mentioned, I have my notes on my computer right below me so I can reference them and make sure that I'm on track. And so for you, if you want to have Post-its up on the wall, or your notes on your computer, or even your notes on your phone, that's okay. The only thing is, when you do film and when you're filming in small sections, the really important thing to do is to take at least a 2 to 3 second beat before and after you start filming. If you don't, it makes the editing process really hard, because you're trying to edit run-on sentences and you're gonna have these really harsh cuts like this that go right into one another. Instead of having a cut like this, and then you just pick up exactly where you left off, and it totally looks seamless, right? And if you want help with how to put your notes together when you are filming to have that security blanket, make sure you check out this video next on how to script your YouTube videos. And it's not word for word, but at least gives you a little bit of a structure so you have that safety net when you are filming and you don't feel like you're gonna miss anything. And the final note on scripting or having notes is the more clear you are on the outcome of the video for your viewer, the more clear you will convey it. So oftentimes when you hear yourself rambling or you just can't stop talking, it's because you're getting jumbled and lost in your own head of what the purpose and the outcome of your video is. So the more clear you are on that, the easier it is to film. And my last tip is to keep a sense of humor. This is not brain surgery. We are not saving lives here. You're going to screw up. Everybody does. And the reality is we are all just too darn busy worrying about ourselves to really worry too much about what you sound like on camera. And I'm telling you, your first video may not be your best, but you are going to get better with practice and time. But the only way to not get better is to not film. So don't let this lead to not taking action because you're so worried about what you look like or sound like on camera. And for a little confidence boost, I always tell people to do this, but go back and watch my old videos on this channel. They're crazy. It's crazy to see how far I've come and how confident I feel. And I actually thought I was doing a pretty good job when I first started my channel, but now I look back and I'm like, oh no. But it's fine because I at least showed up and I've been able to build this amazing community because I showed up and provided value. So your value of what you're saying, the value of your words are so much more important than your production value. I'm so curious to know if this helped you feel more confident about talking to camera because realistically, we're doing it every day, whether that is on FaceTime, on Instagram stories, on YouTube, on Zoom, etc. So let me know what your biggest takeaway was in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a like so more people can see it in the algorithm. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every single time I post a new video. And if you want more good info about how to be confident on camera, how to make great videos, and how to show up on YouTube in a big way, check out these videos next. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.